great reluctance, I make the motion.
All right, motion by Commissioner Moore.
Great reluctance, I will second that.
It's a decision the Smith County Commissioners Court did not want to make, accepting the resignation of Fire Marshal Paul Findley.
Without going into a whole lot of detail, circumstances have changed and some opportunities have lined up.
The move to accept the resignation came after a lengthy closed session in which Findley and Deputy Chief Chad Hogue were called into the courtroom. And while a quick departure certainly had people curious about Findley's reason for leaving, he says the decision was personal, echoed by Smith County Judge Neil Franklin.
There absolutely was no problem. There's no internal problem there. It's absolutely he's doing something for his family, that they're making a decision. We hate to see him go.
And while county leaders wish Findley could stick around, they believe he achieved what was needed.
We just needed some leadership, and he started moving things in the right direction, and there's unity. He's unified the office.
An office that saw its first leadership change nearly a year ago when Jay Brooks resigned.
At the end of the day, we just decided that it was best to just agree to disagree and move on down the road.
With Findley's resignation effective next Tuesday, Hogue will once again become the interim fire marshal as the county prepares to make a decision on Findley's permanent successor.
Paul Findley became the county's fire marshal after serving in the same role for the city of Tyler.